Want to go, pretty boy?
Two minutes by yourself and you feel shame, you know, and then you get free.
The only thing better than a glass of beer is tea with Miss McGill.
And welcome to the Fourth Line Voice Podcast. My name is Darren. Thank you very much for tuning in. Episode 477 of The Big Show, some enforcer-based podcasting coming at you, brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network. How's the way doing out there? Oh, it's Saturday night, 9:30 here in Saskatchewan. We're recording. And we're recording. This is going to be the review show of BKFC Ice Wars, the Florida event at Amarant Arena, of course, home of the Florida Panthers. And that went down last Friday on the 10th. I apologize for that. Well, normally I always come out with my stuff at this time, but I wanted to get the review show out a little earlier, but I recorded a bit of it. Then I didn't have a chance to finish it. Then the audio was corrupt, which I didn't realize. And it didn't matter. Now I'm doing the whole thing over again anyway. So here we are. Anyway, I know there has been a few people. Oh, the demand has been great. But there's been a few people asking what my thoughts were about the show and everything else. And, of course, I live streamed the event. And I want to thank those who showed up and watched it with me. We had some beers and had fun and watched the show. And, I'm starting to, that live streaming. I'm slowly but surely kind of getting used to it. I'm not used to being on camera. And, it's one thing on camera to like just record a thing and a show or whatever. But when it's a live stream, it's a little different because you're not only watching the action, but you're reading the chat and you're trying to engage people and answer questions and from the chat, but then you're trying to pay attention to what's on the screen. And so I definitely had to go back and rewatch the show before I did my review. I mean, you watch it, obviously during the live stream, I watched it, but I wasn't watching it, right? So, but I did go back. I reviewed everything. A couple of the fights I watched a couple times, make sure everything, to confirm what I think I saw. I certainly, I much like the preview show, I pride myself on getting the information correct and like for the preview shows, give all the information that I can on the fighters and their backgrounds and as much as I know anyway, and as much as I can find out. And I'd like to. I've been told it's not me saying it. This is what others have said, that it's fairly comprehensive and they learn things about the fighters that they didn't know. So I'm, and we've always and usually I do the preview shows with Jay and Alec, and we've been praised actually numerous times by people for our preview shows, which is a great, it's humbling and it's great that people look to the preview show as kind of kind of the starter guide for the event, right? So you can, who is this guy, where is he from, and whatever. So so that's really cool that somebody uses it sort of just as a an intro to Ice Wars or to that event. So that's cool. The review show. I mean, there was a little controversy in this one, and I've never. I'll be honest with you guys, and in my critique of the show, I've never shied away from any of the shows. I praise it, but I have my complaints too, and I'll air all those right, on this show, on the review show. So, I'm not beholden to anybody. I'm not here to kiss anyone's ass or anything like that and hurt, and I if that hurts people's feelings, well then okay, but I'm always respectful to the guys that step into the ice box and fight. I mean, whether you land 100 punches or one punch or, whatever, the fact that you went in and did it, full marks. And I'm never, in any of my episodes, in all 477 episodes, whether it's Ice Wars guys, NHL guys, minor league players, junior players, what have you, I always say I challenge, and on social media as well, I challenge anybody to bring up something where I was disrespectful to the players, because that's not, and that's in this event. That's not why I'm here, is to be disrespectful to anybody that lost. I mean, every fight has to have a loser. I'm not here to disrespect anybody that lost at all. I mean, there's a winner and a loser, and I'll critique the fight how I saw it, and it's no disrespect to anybody involved. So. And at the same time, like I said, I have my critique of the show, and I have opinions about the show and how it was run and everything else, and I'll share those. And so you're getting an absolute honest. Because the reason I'm saying all this, I should have prefaced this, but it was like somebody said, "Are you going to do a review show?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah. I just." I need time to get it out, but yeah, I will definitely be doing a review show. I always have done, for every Ice Wars, I've done a review show, and they're like, well, at least be honest this time. I'm like, what? I'm like, well, I don't really know. What do you mean? And they're like, oh, there's some shows out there that aren't. And I'm like, okay, I don't know that, but and he goes and stuff, and some of the stuff in the past with your show. I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means. So I'm like, well, can you be more specific? I don't know what you're talking about. And he never replied back to me. So I don't know who this person was, or I don't think I've ever had an interaction with this person before. And it wasn't that important. I was going to DM him and clarify. I don't really care, but it was just like, okay, I don't know what you meant, but I don't know when I've not been honest in an Ice Wars review, or I guess I'm not as scathing as you'd like me to be. Okay, but whatever. Anyway, I'm rambling at this point. No one tuned in to listen to me ramble. First things first, before we get into the review, well, like I said, I'll do the review. I'll break down each fight. We'll talk about the fights, and then at the end, I'll critique it, and I'll give it my overall opinion of the show. But before I do all that, as I said, I'm a member of the Hockey Podcast Network. So over 100 shows in the network. I'm on the original content creator side. Myself, Terry Ryan, Ted Hitchcock from Shoresy, of course, Tales of TR. Of course, Joel Lazito. Look at that, episode 199. He interviews former Canucks, San Jose Shark, David Bruce. I get 199. Holy, I mean, with Joe's math, it's like he's at like 204 and a quarter. Don't ask. Joe knows what I'm talking about. No, it's 204C. That's a deep cut. You have to go back in the archives and figure that one out. But I want to, obviously Joe, right away from 200, right, one step away from 200, and which is in the podcasting world, I can tell you is an amazing. Well, 199 is amazing, but because I think I read some, I gotta find that again. Or I'm sure I could find it with a Google search, but I believe they say the average podcast is like 7 episodes or something. Last 7 episodes. I know there's like 3 or 3.5 million podcasts out there or whatever. So. Anyway, the point of all of this is the fact that Joe's almost at 200 episodes is quite remarkable. And, he'd be, I mean, if he didn't have a teacher schedule and taking summers off and everything else, he'd be at about 310 now, and 310D probably if he had stayed with it. But I know a few stops and starts and a few... Some aggravation along the way, as all of us podcasters go through. Oh, believe me, and I'm right there with them. But congratulations on 199, and yeah, man, keep cruising. And like I said, Joe's Coliseum Chronicle. I don't even know if I said that. Coliseum Chronicles is his podcast. It initially started out as a New York Islander-based podcast where he just interviewed Islander players and ex-Islander players, etc. But obviously that can only be it's not very sustainable after a while. Eventually you've talked to everybody that you can talk to, and it's like, well, I still want a podcast. So he has veered off, and he does what he calls off the island. And and this is where David Bruce and etc. come in. So he's obviously Joe's expanded the life of his podcast, and the podcasting world is better for it. Let me tell you, So, but yeah. So and like I said, all like Mick Fakota, Dean Ewan, Strudwick, Asham, on and on. He's interviewed so many people, does a great job interviewing. I mean, you want thorough. There's thorough, and then there's Lazito. Like I said, by the end of it, I mean, he's got these guys confessing to Hoffa, right? So it's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll usually always say the B side. Joe's on like the D side, that's how far he goes. I mean, so, but definitely thorough. I mean, if you'll know everything about the guy by the time the interview is done. But great job, and I keep saying this every episode. I need to get Joe back on, but he's been on my show a couple times. But yeah, I definitely have to get him on after 200 here, and and we'll go from there. But congratulations, Joe. Yes, sir. The Bruised and Battered, my other podcast that I do. Yes, if you're already sick of my voice, do you want to become more sick of it, or sicker? The Bruised and Battered podcast. It's a podcast that I do with Jay and Alec, and it is a look at current tough minor league hockey. Basically, we break down Fed, Southern Pro, East Coast League, American League, LNH. We just talk about we go through the different leagues and talk about who's signed and who's fighting and who's not fighting and what teams are folding and what teams are jerseys and tough guys to watch for and all that stuff. And last episode I interviewed AJ Galante, and which is interesting as it lends into this episode as well, or it has kind of an affiliation with this episode. Of course, AJ is the GM of the Danbury Hat-Tricks of the Federal League, and they had a pretty rowdy home opener season opener against Port Huron. A lot of heat there from last year. Port Huron eliminated them from the playoffs, and Ben Brockway did a whole flag planting thing at center ice in Danbury, which got everybody hot. And AJ was on the ice yelling at him, and then whoever the schedule makers knew what they were doing. Back to the scene of the crime, Port Huron was in Danbury for opening night this year, and got a little heated. We had AJ Schlepp, former Ice Wars competitor, who had been traded to Port Huron that day, taking on Jesse Swanson, and the rest is, as they say, history, and a few suspensions out of it and everything else. And but yeah, so we talked to AJ about that, or I talked to AJ about that, and then just how we, getting back into hockey after the whole Trashers thing 20 years ago, and full circle back in Danbury with the Hat-Tricks, and and etc. And AJ's such an easy interview. I mean, you just hit go and he goes, right? So no problem. But the big news coming out of it as well is at the end of the interview, AJ announces, because of course, maybe some of the listeners right now don't know, AJ is no longer involved in Ice Wars, and he has decided to start his own hockey fight league. It's called Major League Hockey Fights, and it's sort of a team-based type of thing, and so it's a different with Ice Wars, and he wants to work like kind of a side-by-side with Ice Wars, and they both kind of work with each other, and he breaks it down. He talks about it for about 15 minutes at the end of the show, and again, with his idea, nothing, like he said, nothing's written in stone right now, but this is something that he's been working on for the last little while, and and this is so far. I mean, he's got to obviously talk to the fighters and everything and get their input, and he's certainly not married to certain ideas, and there's always tweaks to do and everything else with a new venture. But at any rate, he's starting Major League Hockey Fights here probably in the spring of 2026. So something a little different, something to compete with Ice. I don't even know if it's competition with Ice Wars. It's something different though, and it's basically the sport of hockey fights. So so definitely, if you want to check that out, it's our brand new episode of the Bruised and Battered Show, again on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to your shows. Also, I am going to put the video on my YouTube channel of that portion of the interview with AJ. I recorded it. So that clip, the 15 minutes or so, will be up on my YouTube channel, Fourth Line Voice on YouTube. While you're there, please subscribe to the channel. I have over 2,500 fight videos on the channel. Going forward here in the winter, I'd like to, every Friday, I call it Fighting Friday, and I basically play minor league and junior hockey fights. It's a hockey fight watch along for about an hour and a bit. Bring some beers and get in the chat and talk, and we'll watch fights. And I think the playlists have been pretty good so far, and people have enjoyed the fights. So yeah, every Friday at 9 o'clock Eastern, we do that on the live stream. Again, Fourth Line Voice on YouTube. Please check it out. And I will be uploading that video of myself talking to AJ about Major League Hockey fights. Actually, as soon as I'm done recording this, I will go do that. So, check it out maybe on Sunday or Monday here. So, it's some interesting news coming out of the hockey fight world. So check all that out. So follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Fourth Line Voice, like I said, as well as the Bruised and Battered, and check that show out as well too. We're really happy with it so far. We got about 44 episodes in. Started it last fall, and it's really been gaining momentum. It's been really well received by the players. We get a lot of feedback from the players, and I always say, anytime you're getting positive feedback from the players, I think you're on the right track. So so we're really happy with it, and like I said, it's more Jay and Alex show than mine anyway. I always say I'm the guy in the back seat that chimes in every once in a while, but they're definitely steering the car. So, Bruised and Battered, check it out. But anyway, let's get into this review show of Ice Wars, shall we? We're 16 minutes in. They're like, shut up already. Let's get into it. Okay, one more thing. Got to hit you with an ad here. DraftKings. I was going to say bet on football, but I knew Cincinnati was going to beat Pittsburgh, and I chickened out. Believe in Flacco, I guess, is what we should be saying, but I chickened out. Anyway, DraftKings support, like I said, it gets you $200 in bonus bets and helps out the network, and everyone's happy. So we'll do this to keep the lights on, folks, and then we'll get into it. The review of Ice Wars in Florida.
And now, here's a word from our sponsor.
Hockey is back, and this season, DraftKings Sportsbook is the official sports betting partner of the NHL. Brings you all the speed, skill, and nonstop action that you love. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you're going to get paid out $300 in bonus bets instantly. Fortunately, here in Saskatchewan, we have the fantasy option here, but we don't have the sportsbook option with DraftKings, unfortunately. But I've been doing these ads for a long time, and a lot of my listeners, friends, have signed up with DraftKings, and they love it. Honestly, prop bets are really solid. Odds are great. No problems with the bonuses getting paid. They've never had an issue with DraftKings. It's the preferred sports book for a lot of my friends. So, so I have no problem endorsing it. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-78-9-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of the Boot Hill Casino and Resort, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Okay, let's get into it, shall we? All right, well, here we go. Yes, BKFC Ice Wars from Florida, October 10th at the Amaranth Arena. Like I said, home of the Florida Panthers. Live streamed it and had a lot of fun on the live stream. And a little different look for this Ice Wars. First of all, it was on real ice, which was good to see. And then the next thing was it was bare knuckle. I'll get into all my thoughts about all that stuff and everything else. We'll talk about the fights first and how they went, and then we'll get into the other my other opinions of the show. But I will say with the bare knuckle, they weren't wearing hockey helmets. They were they were soft padded. They almost look like almost like a rugby type of headgear. So obviously you're saving your hands because it's 3 1-minute rounds. So yeah, you don't want to be punching plastic. So the helmets were a good idea for sure. So. And they mostly stayed on for the most part. A couple times they had some issues there in the Lafayette fight. It came off a couple times, but overall, no, they stayed on. They were good, so props to whoever came up with that idea. It was a good idea as far as for going bare knuckle and having that type of helmet. Because obviously you want the guys with head to have some protection on their head too, of course. But at the same time, it's like, you don't want to be punching plastic for 3 rounds. So no, it was a good compromise. So that's what we were looking at out of the gate, because normally Ice Wars has always been hockey helmets, but with MMA gloves. So bare knuckle on real light, and it's always been on synthetic ice as well. I should keep pointing this out. But although granted, if you watch the show, you kind of know I don't think anybody's going to listen to this after not watching Ice Wars, because it wouldn't mean anything to them. So obviously everyone I'm talking to has watched it. So, but if you are new to Ice Wars, like if this was your first one to see, you wouldn't know. But the other events have been on synthetic, and which obviously is a whole different ball game. But yeah, so real ice and bare knuckle. So the opening fight of the show was Colton Hollywood Hayes versus J.S. Bergeron. Hayes, of course, competed in Edmonton versus Corey Allen. He's also a former pro hockey player, and he played with Fort Wayne and played in the Alberta Junior A League. Was actually Defenseman of the Year in his final year there. So, skilled guy, but, would throw down. Actually, his fight card's not bad in his pro Adam Huxley, a couple of guys he was one of the guys that he fought back in the day. But yeah, so he had a 5 or 6 year pro career in the East Coast League. So was up in the AHL for a bit. So yeah, legitimate hockey player with skills. Runs a hockey school now, and so solid player. And he's fighting J.S. Bergeron, and J.S. Bergeron actually competes in the AAA Quebec League. So no fooling around there. I mean, those guys throw down on a regular basis. So he's played the last 3 seasons. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the team that he plays on, but so he is an active player as well. So basically, we have 2 hockey players opening the show, and Hayes, like he does, I mean, even when he fought Corey Allen in Edmonton, he likes going for that Superman punch, and he's really aggressive. And he did the same thing here. He starts off fast, and and they were, Hayes looked like he lost a bunch of weight for this, and he was in really good shape, looked really good, and they're in the clinch, and that's the one thing I will say with they start off quick, and they're having a really nice exchange, and the refs kind of got in there a little bit. Like as soon as they almost stop punching and they're kind of just jockeying for position, the refs get in there. And of course, part of the rules were, if you're going to grapple, they're going to break you up. I get it, but I mean, a couple times the refs were real quick on the trigger, and it's like, well, let them work themselves here a little bit. Like, a hockey fight isn't all just punching for 3 rounds. Like, there's got to be some grappling involved, and guys getting different grips, and and everything else, cross gripping, etc., trying to work on leverage and stuff. So there was a couple times during the event that the refs got in there, in my opinion, a little quick, and especially there was a couple times guys were, I think they broke up what could have been a real advantageous kind of position for a couple guys, and it was a little frustrating to watch. But and anyway, they're having a really good exchange. It gets broken up, whatever. They come together, they're again another good exchange, and they're spinning. And Hayes landed a really good right, and they both go down, and Hayes' one skate hits the board, boom, makes the big noise and everything. But and that kind of ended the round. And then start of the second round, basically Hayes works Bergeron into the corner, and then just ends up just pummeling him with about 3 or 4 rights coming down straight downhill, and basically picks up the TKO win. And Hayes looked really strong in this fight, and and Bergeron too. Bergeron, had a little at first was a little trouble getting up, but he was up after and everything. But Hayes really looked really strong in this, and one of those things. It's like I think he just caught Bergeron in the corner, and obviously when a hockey rink there, it's a curved corner. But this is obviously a square, so like they call it the ice box. So I think just Bergeron got stuck in the corner and couldn't get out, and Hayes took advantage and really kind of came down with some pile driving rights, and TKO win. So big win for Hayes. He looked really good. The next fight was James Dawzell and Mike Arcamone. I had both guys on the show. Actually, it was the last episode I did Fight Week right before the show. James Dawzell played junior back in the day in Ontario and has had bare knuckle fights. Mike Arcamone played some hockey in Maryland, some high school hockey back in the day. Older cat. I give Arcamone full credit. He lost a lot of weight to make weight for this, but just in general, I know he came down a lot of, and as an older guy to get back into basically fighting shape and everything, full marks to him. I mean, it's not, as you get up there in age, I can fully attest to this, that it doesn't come off as fast as it used to. And he looked great shape, and he took it serious, and, he signed up, and a local Florida guy. I know he had a lot of people there for him. And he stepped in the ring with James Dawzell, and, It was just tough because Dawzell, like I said, it was 3 weeks earlier, had a bare knuckle fight in Edmonton, so he is legitimately in fighting condition. Whereas Mike Arcamone, it's probably been a minute since he's been in a fight. So Dawzell just started really fast and had uppercuts going and jabs, and to start the second round, Dawzell really landed a huge right that ended the fight, and really. To Arcamone's credit, he was really busted up. Again, it's that bare knuckle, man. It's going to bust you up, and he was busted up and cuts all over and had his nose broken and everything else in the first round. And they basically pushed it back into place, and he answered the bell in the second one, but right at the start of the second round, and Dawzell landed a really big right in that Florida Arcamone, and that that's when they called the fight right there. But full marks to Mike for getting in the ring at that age, and having that long of a layoff, and and to take on a guy who's still actively fighting, and like I said, had just had a bare knuckle fight a few weeks earlier. So. But that was all James Dawzell on that one. The next fight was Jake Curtis and Cole Johnson. And you know what? No, sorry, folks. The light came on there. I had to see what was going on. So Jake Curtis, who coming into this, I knew nothing about him. He had no social. Well, I now know he goes under the name Rusty Shackelford on social media, which is pretty funny. But because I was trying to look up Jake Curtis, of course, and all I knew was he's from Florida, local guy, and he plays rec hockey. That was all I knew. I tried to actually go through his rec hockey league team. I think I sent them a message and was like, "Can somebody get me in touch with Jake Curtis?" Because I wanted to interview him for Fight Week. Because I did the preview show, and I'm just like, well, I don't know who this guy is. I've never laid eyes on him. So, it was all new to me when he came out on the screen. Cole Johnson, of course, I see quite a bit because I actually work with Cole Johnson. And he has been on numerous Ice Wars, and he's a veteran of the sport. And, this is a really interesting matchup. And like I said in the preview show, both Jay and myself both kind of said, well, we're picking Cole because he's been in 6 of these fights, and I don't know who this other guy is. So just based on experience, we're going to go with Cole Johnson. But man, Jake Curtis, I'd later find out, has done tough man contests and everything else. So he's a tough dude. And man, he came swinging. Cole actually really started the fight off really strong. He was using his reach, and there was a lot of in tight battling and everything else. I know in the first round it looked like they went down awkward, and I don't know if Cole got hurt. I said on the live stream it looks like he's kind of favored, almost looks like a groin type pull or a knee maybe. It was lower body, and I haven't seen Cole at work to ask him, and I didn't. Well, we'll get to it in a sec, but I haven't talked to him about it, so I don't know. I mean, I'm just speculating at this point. But he got up and they kept going. Second round again. But Curtis starts off really quick and he lands a big right and some uppercuts. They get in tight and Cole kind of regroups. But this is where, again, the ref jumped in a little quick, and I thought Cole was going to start he had him in a position, and yeah, whatever. But anyway, they separate. They come in tight again, and Curtis comes up from underneath, and he busts Johnson up, and Cole just went down a couple times, and he looked really gassed out, and yeah, Curtis just overwhelmed them, and they stopped the fight. Again, I'm not taking any away from Jake Curtis's performance. I don't know if Cole had a little lower body injury, what happened there, but yeah, it just looked, I don't know, had bursts of it, but yeah, it just looked a little off. But again, though, full marks to Jake Curtis, man, local guy. He came to Rumble, and yeah, hey, man, right on. Props to you, and makes a hell of an Ice Wars debut. Pick up the win. So Jake Curtis picks up the win over Cole Johnson. The next fight was the one that we were all really interested in. It was the first female fight of Ice Wars history. Valerie Rulli and Christina Berry. And I'll tell you, man, and the real cool thing is both these ladies have hockey backgrounds. Christina Berry played university hockey. Valerie Rulli played, I think last time I looked, it was like number 19 and under Illinois team, and like played growing up. So both these ladies could skate legitimately very well. Both were amateur boxers. Well, Christina Berry has professional boxer. Valerie's amateur. I know Christina does jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. She's from Winnipeg. I believe she's the first female in Manitoba to have her black belt in jiu-jitsu. I believe I read that. But yeah, and we said it on the preview show. We always say it. I said it's like those UFC events, man, or any of the when the females are in the combat sports, they usually have the best fight of the night. They go for it. Well, here we go again. I can tell you they made Jay and I look like geniuses in the preview show, but you didn't have to be a genius to know that the females were going to come out banging, and they did, man. They met in the middle, and away they went, and it was toe to toe, and what a great fight, and yeah, just immediate. And I will say, Valerie Rulli, I know she worked out. She talked about working with Anthony Mendoza in the same gym, and he was showing her a few things. And while Anthony did a good job, because you could just see it. Rulli just had that reach, and she had leverage on her with her reach, and she had her locked out with her one arm, and Christina was going for it, but was just missing a little bit, and Valerie was landing, and man, she busted up Christina hard. Oh man, and they landed some big shots, but Valerie really busted open Christina Berry hardcore, and her face was a mess and swelling up after the end of the round. And unfortunately, we only got one round, but the doctor stopped it, which was a good call. But this is where I think the bare knuckle really played a part. In this, because the bare knuckle, you're just going to get torn up, and Christina Berry got torn up. But to her credit, man, I mean, she was arguing with the doctor, like, "No, let me go. I'm ready to go." She wanted to get back in it, man. And like I said, her face looked like 20 miles of bad road. But props to both ladies, man, and just taking it and put on a great show for the one round, like toe to toe, and neither of them backing up a step, and it was great. And congratulations to Valerie, really looked great. Yeah, man, it was. Yeah, I mean, you could, if somebody said that was fight of the night, but it was only one round, I'd agree with them, man. That was the most action, pretty much of the night. Like in terms of like, how many punches thrown in time? Yeah, I would say they were right up there, and it was great. And props to both ladies. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to interview them. I really wanted to. I did see Chef interviewed them because he Reddit interviewed them. So I did listen to some of this stuff. And Christina Berry is I believe, microbiologist for like the government of Canada here in like crazy, and really educated and fights on the side, and Valerie really same thing, and both very well spoken and just really carried themselves well, and and congratulations on being the first females in Ice Wars, and what a great show, and hopefully we see him again because tremendous. The next fight was Ryan Snowbeck and Jordan the Warden Christie. Of course, Snowbeck's again really aggressive. He starts off really quick. He comes right at Christie, and but Christie kind of gets spun out a little bit. But once he settles in, they have a really nice toe-to-toe exchange in the corner, and they go down. But started off real hot, and it was like, okay, here we go, right? And unfortunately, they start going. Snowbeck goes down, pops right back up. The refs get in there again. Although it was tough because Snowbeck did go down and got right back up, but Christie was kind of coming in on him. But anyway, they separate him. They come together again, start grappling. They go down, and this is unfortunately where Christie got poked in the eye, which unfortunately happens in the fight game. I mean, we've seen it before. You just don't want to see it, really that early in the fight because there really hadn't been anything decided yet. It was sort of, like I said, they had the nice little exchange, and then that was the end of the fight. And I know Jordan had some scratch marks on his face and from where the poke was, and he said, it took him a little while to get the vision back in his eye. And which is, that's always scary, of course, obviously when it's your vision. So, it was really unfortunate. So, Ryan Snowbeck picks up the win, or fights. I don't know how you'd call it, fight stoppage, or regardless, they had to stop the fight due to the eye poke, which was unfortunate. I felt bad for Jordan. I know he trained really hard for it. I know he was excited. Wanted to put on a good show, and. And the same thing with Snowbeck. I mean, no one wants to win like that, and certainly he didn't. So, obviously it was just an unintentional eye poke, and like I said, unfortunately those things happen, and so that put an end to that fight. Where are my notes here? I'm sitting in the dark. Oh, the next fight was here. I'll take a drink here. I'm getting hoarse here. The next fight was Will Laporte versus Anthony Mendoza. Again, this was going into it was like Anthony Mendoza, about 5'10", a tank of a strong human, big dude, but like 5'10", 5'10" wide too, but. So big, powerful guy, but 5'10", and then you have Will Laporte, who's about 6'5". So when you get 6, 7, 8-inch reach advantage, that's always tough sledding. And Laporte, and again, Will Laporte coming from a professional hockey background, obviously with a stronger skater of the two, and that showed. And this fight was really weird. I from a hockey fight standpoint, I know what they were trying to do. I get it. To some of the folks watching, we'll leave it at that. For some of the folks watching, I don't think they really got it. They would sort of come to the middle, and they would both basically just grab onto each other, like with no resistance, and then basically it's like, let's just stand here and have a punch in the face contest is what they were going to do. They were just like, all right, let's just meet in the middle, grab onto each other, no wrestling or going for leverage, we'll just grab onto each other and let's just start swinging. Which again, I'm just old man sitting on the couch here, so I'm not sitting there. Certainly, I'm not going to tell Anthony Mendoza, well, this is what you should have done, kid. Listen to me. I'm not trying to come off that way. I'm just saying, as a fan, simply as a fan, this is my opinion. It's my show. If Anthony Mendoza doesn't like it, he can certainly get a hold of me. I've had him on the show before. I'm not quite sure why he would think that was a smart game plan, just due to the size disadvantage. In my opinion, I think he would have probably been better served to use his strength and size. Not that Will Laporte's a weakling either, because he's not. But Mendoza's, big blocky powerhouse guy. Get inside and work from underneath. That's kind of what I assumed he would have. I mean, in the preview show, that's what we talked about him having to do, and break that reach of Laporte's. Instead, he just walked into it and stood there and okay, let's exchange. Well, it's okay if you're going to exchange with a guy that's maybe 6 feet tall, sure. Exchanging with a guy that's 6'6", and you're 5'10", I don't know if that's the best game plan. But that's what we had for 2 rounds. And the problem was also, once you start doing that, obviously you're going to start pulling and dragging and pulling and everything. And basically Laporte was so strong on his skates and everything else, because a lifetime of playing hockey. And Mendoza, to his credit, was a goalie actually in his hockey career and has just recently started playing out. So his skating is, it's certainly nowhere near as good a skater as Will Laporte. And that became sort of evident. As basically Laporte just kept dragging Mendoza off of his skates and pulling him down. So Mendoza would go down, Laporte wouldn't hit him, he let him up, and they'd kind of grab onto each other again, and a couple exchange a little bit, fall down. And that's kind of how it went for 2 rounds, I think. And then in the 3rd round, Mendoza he forgot that, okay, we're not doing that anymore. And, and then they kind of went into the clinch and, or went away from the clinch, and it was just, it was just a tough fight. It was a tough. I get it, but as a viewer, I know a lot of people, and again, this is people saying it, so people had problems with the fight. They were pretty pissed off about it actually, and just kind of. What are you doing? And because before that, obviously we had seen Will Laporte, had the big win over James Brooks in Michigan, and of course then had the epic tilt with AJ Schlepp in Edmonton, and which was that was different because Laporte of all things was punching up in that one, which is when you're 6'6", basically punching up doesn't usually happen, But we had really seen, Will Laporte open up and really go, free swinging, where in this one didn't really happen. And people were frustrated by it. And again, I understand what they were doing. And again, I'm not trying to sit here and be, Dr. Fight and this is what you should have done. I'm reporting the news, man. That's what I saw. And I thought it was just a real middle of the road fight. Again, props to both guys for going in and doing it and all that. Again, I'm not shitting on the boys, but I'm just saying in terms of fight excitement, that type of thing, it wasn't really there. But anyway, Will Laporte got the decision, and he is now 3-0. And it also was announced that Mendoza, Anthony, is going to try his hand at BKFC in the bare knuckle in the ring. So, good luck to you, man. That bare knuckle boxing, man, is a brutal sport. So, I don't know, but good luck to you, man. But tough guys, and like I said, I understood what they were going for. It just didn't really work out, and it just led to a subpar fight, in my opinion, in terms of the entertainment value. And which again, it happens, but and it happened here, in my opinion. But the next fight was Alex Marchescello, who was a late addition substitution for Justice Smoke, versus Stephen Wolftail, and this is a great fight. We again, Jay and I in the preview show were really excited for it. We had high expectations for it. They met those expectations. I know Wolftail I think he had to drop 15 pounds in 5 days, something crazy in 5 days. He did it. So again, with the weight cut, full marks to that. Because again, he thought he was fighting Justice Smoke at a higher weight class, like literally 2 weeks before the event. So he had to scramble. And then props to Marcelo for taking the fight. I mean, it's not like, he's a gym guy and he's always in shape and he's getting ready for his senior hockey season anyway. So it's not like he was, on the couch eating Doritos. But again, you're not really in that headspace of, I got to fight next week. And then next thing you know, okay, yeah, I'll do it. So full marks to both guys. And, yeah, and I will say with this, just visually, Wolftail looked a lot bigger than Marcelo, like just physically more imposing. But, yeah, and I mean, I'm just kind of reading my notes here. Yeah, really great opening exchange. It actually looked like a legitimate hockey fight. Like when you're watching an Oiler Flame game and a fight breaks out, this is what it looks like. And you forgot you were in an ice box and it was an Ice Wars event. No, it really looked like a hockey fight. And again, both guys are hockey players, right? And, Marcelo's played some time in the Federal League, played in the pro level, plays senior hockey in Ontario, high level senior hockey in Ontario. And same with Wolftail. He grew up playing hockey and had a few senior games. So both guys strong skaters, and it showed because nobody was going down. They were standing. Wolftail got cut early. Started the second round. Wolftail landed a huge right. In tight. Marcelo's kind of leaning up. Yeah, see, that was the other thing. So, again, when you're in a fight, right, and a guy's hitting you, you kind of you're leaning back and you're kind of turning your head away, so he's kind of catching a helmet, and you're kind of setting up to come back with a big reply, and the refs break it up again. It was just you guys let it. And the one ref's an NHL guy too, so it was like, come on, man, you should know this. So that was getting frustrating. I made a comment about it on the live stream. A bunch of people did. And it was like, these refs are they're jumping in too quick. Marcelo was setting it up, man. He's taking shots because you're not going to stand there facing the guy while he's punching you. No, you lean away and turn your head and, absorb a couple shots to the side and then come back. But anyway, it was just frustrating. But, as they're circling, Marcelo lands a really nice jab starting the third. But just overall, just a really good fight. They both guys, Marcelo kind of using the size or using the speed, and in and out. And but yeah, it was a hockey fight, and Wolftail won by decision. Which was fine. It wasn't that I was arguing with the decision. At the end of the day, I don't know if someone had said Marcelo, on point. I don't think they'd set the chairs on fire and, scream travesty of justice or anything. Wolftail, tight decision. It was a tight fight, great fight, and props to both guys. Like I said, Marcelo on short notice, Wolftail for losing the weight. Couldn't have been easy for either guy, but they put on a hell of a show, and I believe they actually won fight of the night. I think I read that, but and deservedly. I'm a big fan of both guys, and good work, and congratulations, Stephen Wolftail. Next fight, the Alley Train, Corey Allen versus Zach Hughes. Again, Zach Hughes, a late replacement for Catlin Big Steak. Again, he massive dude, man. And Corey Allen again comes into great shape. He's been training with Aaron Downey, and it's just tough. Corey Allen's really aggressive, was in great shape. He has done this, I don't know how many fights, 5 or 6 times in Ice Wars now, and and he was just all over Zach, and he ended it with a big left, and basically it was a real quick win, and Corey Allen by TKO, and the Alley Train keeps rolling along, and like I said, props to both guys, and again, Zach for taking it on short notice, and Corey Allen keeps rolling, man, father time, but has not stopped him. He's over 40 and keeps going and looking great. And yeah, man, congratulations. And Corey Allen is your winner. Now we got the main events. The co-main event was Charles Rosa, former UFC and MMA fighter, versus Reed Krasowski, who is of course from Yorkton, Saskatchewan here, and and this was one of those fights that I know BKFC Ice Wars has put a lot of promotion time into Charles Rosa. They've Rosa Nation. It was all over the place, all over their social media for months now. And Rosa, despite obviously being an MMA fighter and everything else as a profession, has always said that he was always loved hockey, grew up playing hockey, played high school hockey in Massachusetts, and big Bruins fan and everything else. So, and he had been putting out videos, and he looked pretty rusty on his skates. And we mentioned that, and we were anxious to see how it would come together, and no one had seen Reed, because again, he was kind of a mystery. I know he grew up playing hockey in Yorkton, played some junior B, but that, and then did some amateur boxing, but no one had seen him, right? And so this was a real kind of close your eyes and pick him kind of thing, because nobody had really. There was no history on either guy that you could go from in terms of hockey. I mean, obviously you'd seen Rosa in UFC and whatever, but I mean, that ain't hockey, so no one really knew. But basically it comes out. It's kind of a sloppy start, and they're punching up against the boards, and Rosa's punching up because I think Reed had about 3 or 4 inches on him. Reed actually had him stretched out for a minute and lands a couple really good ones, but Rosa hit him, and they kind of both went down, and and on the way down, Rosa kind of rode his back down and hit him again while they were which was, again, I'm not going to get on a guy for hit, because one of the rules, obviously, you don't punch a guy when he's down and on all that, and which I understand, but at the same time, you're in a fight. It's hard, right? And it's tough, and especially from a UFC guy, an MMA guy. Well, they don't, when they go down, hey, stop fighting, fellas. Like, no, that's the whole point, right? So, I mean, it's old habits die hard. So, I'm not going to hang that one on Rosa, like, chastise him for that, because I get it. In a heat of the moment thing, you're going to do what you got to do, right? But, Reed just got up. He was kind of swinging and missing. He got kind of turned around, and then Rosa just got him up against the boards and really started to unload. And Reed just didn't really use his length to keep kind of Rosa at a distance, and which is kind of what he had to do, because that was what I said in the preview show. And that was just, in my opinion, I was just like, I told, I think I even said it to Reed on the show, but it's like, you're not going to hit Rosa with it harder than he's ever been hit. Like, I mean, this guy's been kicked in the head for a living, and guy's a pro UFC, like, he's a UFC fighter. You're not going to hit. He's been hit 100 times harder than you're ever going to hit him. So I was basically like, you're going to have to use your skating and your reach, and basically like, bam, 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 get out. Bam, 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 get out. Like, you're basically going to have to win on points and kind of be spinning them and stuff. And, but to Rosa's credit, he handled Reed and basically got him up against the boards and just wouldn't let it go, and just stayed on him. And Reed ended up getting turned around. He got caught and ended up going down hard. And it was just basically, it was all just Charles Rosa. And I know what Reed felt bad after, and I know he had said online a couple times, "Oh, I let everybody down." It's like, nah, you didn't let anybody down, kid. I mean, shit. You got in the ice box. You got to do a fight with a former UFC fighter, for God's sake. I mean, anybody that says anything to you should get their head examined. No, you stepped up and did it. I mean, Reed talked a lot of shit and everything else, but I mean, you're promoting a fight. I mean, we're not here to sell cookies, so I never had a problem with him talking shit. It's the fight game. It's what you're supposed to do. And, and I'm sure Rosa recognized that too. Like I said, he's been an MMA professional. He knows how it goes. And, whatever, they built it up, and both Reed went around the internet. He was on lots of podcasts, and he hyped it up as best he could. And hey man, at the end, like I told him, at the end of the day, you went and did it. You put on skates and went and took on a former UFC fighter. That takes a big amount of balls, man. So don't ever hang your head. And props to Charles Rosa. Came out, said he was going to do it, and he did it, and picked up the victory. And props to Reed for stepping in there and going for it, and chasing the dream. So no reason to hang your head at all, man. And losing to Charles Rosa is no shame, that's for sure. So no, absolutely, it props to both guys. And then the final fight of the night was one that I was actually really excited about. Nick Laporte was taking on Sebastian Lafayette, and of course Sebastian Lafayette, for those that don't know, basically a 20-year professional in the Quebec Senior League, has over 500 career fights, including junior, and in fact way back in junior he played in the Quebec Junior League with Rimouski, and the Rimouski Oceanic, and if that sounds familiar, yes indeed, he played with Sidney Crosby when they won the Memorial Cup. He was Sidney Crosby's bodyguard, and he has won a Memorial Cup, and since then has played in the LNA, that crazy LNAH for 20 years, man. So this guy, I know, and Nick Laporte, of course, played junior in Ontario, played in the Federal Hockey League. Of course, he is gorgeous, Gord Gallant on Shoresy, and I think he had a CFL tryout. I mean, and looks like $1 million. And I mean, what an athlete. And of course, he fought in Michigan against Matt Dunn, overwhelming TKO of Matt Dunn all over him in that fight. And and I said this is going to be a great fight. You have Nick Laporte, 6'6", Lafayette 6'3". Nick really cut down, really slimmed down. I believe they said he was 215, 217 around there. Just cut like. Man, ripped up like my report cards used to be. And then Sebastian Lafayette about 260, so huge weight advantage. And I know, speaking to Nick after the event, he said, "Oh man, that dude leaned on me. It got tiring, man. He was a heavy dude, right?" So, so definitely a weight advantage, and really not 2 or 3 inch height difference, so really nothing that was going to play into a factor in terms of a height advantage. So, and like I said, Sebastian Lafayette, far more. He's got more fights than everyone on this card put together. I mean, this guy's fought Frank Lassard 15 times. He's fought everybody, and and I said that at the start. I said Nick Laporte certainly is not going to be running through Sebastian Lafayette at all. This guy's a veteran fighter, and he's. So anybody that thinks Nick Laporte's going to end this thing in under a minute is sadly mistaken, and it certainly didn't happen. They went all 3 rounds, and it was a great fight, and it was funny. Again, I had a crystal ball, but Jay and I, if you go back and listen to the preview show, basically the fight went exactly how we said it would go. I said Nick's going to start off hot, started off quick, and he was really aggressive at the start, and the helmet came off a couple times in this fight, and I think that actually benefited Lafayette because it kind of gave him a breather because he was sucking wind, and but in the second round though, boy, Lafayette turned it on. He came out swinging, and I would definitely give him the second round. He looked really good, but they were having great exchanges. And it was a big boy fight. This is 2 cats that knew what they were doing, and they both took shots. They were both cut up, and they were both, and no one was backing up. And in the third round, Laporte's aerobic took over. He had more wind, and Lafayette just gassed out. But it was back and forth though. But I going into it, I'd have Nick win in the first round, Sebastian win in the second, I'd have Nick win in the third, and Nick picked up the decision. But it was a great fight. And Sebastian Lafayette fought exactly how I thought he was going to fight, and Nick fought a great fight. Both guys look great, and anybody that says otherwise, go get your fucking eyes checked, because it was a great fight, and props to both guys. I was so happy because I've been a big fan of Lafayette's for years from the Quebec League, and when I found out he was going to be in this, when I talked, Morasti told me, I was like, oh shit, this is going to be great. Who's he fighting? Nick Laporte. Oh shit, this is going to be really good, and it was, and both guys lived up to it, and I loved it. I thought it was one of the better fights in Ice Wars in recent memory, and I loved it. I thought it was great, and I'm a fan of both guys, and in my opinion, both guys look great, and unfortunately, Lafayette, I think the weight, you're fighting in the Quebec League, you're not used to 3-minute fights, maybe not, but maybe 2-minute fights in the Quebec League, minute of it squaring off, but no, it's yeah, Lafayette just, it was too bad his wind wasn't there a little bit, but a little bit better. But overall, I mean, he stood in there and they went. And like I said, yeah, either both guys could, hold your head up after that one. That was a great fight. And yeah, so that was the card for Ice Wars. And again, I want to, hey, as a fan, thank everybody, thank all the competitors for putting that on and going for it. And I've said that from day one with Ice Wars, going back to was it 2022, the first one. When everyone's on synthetic and they're wearing gloves, who are these guys or whatever? No, if you tune, I challenge anybody to go and watch an Ice Wars event and be like, oh, those fights sucked. That was a bunch of nothing. They weren't going. Oh, no way, man. These guys always go for it, and and again, didn't disappoint. And this is why I love Ice Wars. I've always loved Ice Wars. I've been a fan of it. I've helped out with it. I've added my 2 cents behind the scenes to it, and this goes back to 2005 in Prince George when Dean Mayrad won it. Yeah. I mean, I've been with the sport for that long, and like I said, I'm just so happy it's back, and everything else. And I think the listeners out there know I've been an Ice Wars guy since day one. I've done preview shows for all 6 of these events now, and review shows, and I've had fighters on and do fight week, and I've been to Edmonton 3 times. All 3 times the events have been there to be there, and it's been great every time. I love Ice Wars. I want to see it succeed. I want to see it continue. I'm really excited about AJ's thing coming up too as well, and Major League Hockey fights. And I'm not sitting there, oh, it's Pepsi, Coke, you got to pick a side, or no. It's it's a hockey fight event, and I'm a hockey fight fan, so I'm going to promote both as much as I can, and yeah, I'm fully endorsing all of it. So again, this isn't about me picking sides or anything like that. Not at all. I as long as I just see good fights, and everybody gets paid and everybody puts on a show. I mean, that's all, as fans, that's all I think we can ask for, right? And as long as the fighters are taken care of, and hey, I'm all for it. And I'm excited for AJ's thing, and I'm excited to see what happens in the future here with Ice Wars. So, but okay. And having said all that, I'm going to wrap it up here. We're at an hour already, but yeah, just my overall thoughts on the show. And like I said, I'm not going to. I would say this if anybody from Ice Wars was sitting on this in front of me, I've said it to them. I've said it to Kevin Smith. I've said it to AJ, to John. This isn't me hiding behind a microphone or everything. No, I've sat in a hotel room and said this. So, yeah. And if anybody involved in the promotion or something has whatever takes offense to anything I say or whatever, and they want to have it, I'll gladly give them the platform to retort, but again, it's not a disrespect thing or anything like that. Like I said, props to all the fighters. I'm never going to shit on the boys, but just in terms of the event, this is Darren's opinion, no one else's. This is mine, and like I said with this show from day one, I've never, in anything I've done with the Fourth Line Voice, I've never lied to the listeners. I've always kept it honest, and like I said, if anybody has a problem with what I'm going to say, they can get a hold of me. I'm not hard to find. I'm on social media all the time, and a lot of these guys, you have my phone number. Either phone me and you can talk about it, or we can come on the show and talk about it. But yeah, as far as this show goes, yeah, I had a bunch of problems with this show in terms of. Again, it's not my face getting punched. Again, this is just my personal preference. I think the bare knuckle thing is stupid. I'm not a fan of it. I think they should keep gloves on. That's just me. The fact they went to bare knuckle, whatever. But with the helmets, that was a good idea. That was a good choice, because that was one of the things I was very open and openly vocal about, was like punching helmets for 3 rounds bare knuckle is ridiculous. So they did address that, but at the same time, bare knuckle just cuts you up, man. And I think it came back with, especially the ladies' fight with Rulli and Christie. If they had gloves, or Barry, pardon me, if they had gloves on, we would have had a round or two of that, because she wouldn't have been cut up as bad and everything else. And to me, and there was a bunch of times guys were cut and you know, and I mean, I get from the purists, it's like, well, that's what a hockey fight is, and okay. I mean, I get, you know, that's, you know, you're right. I just don't think it has to be that way. My big thing is, I've always said, these guys got to go to work on Monday. So to me, the bare knuckle thing is stupid. You get cut too easy. Fights were stopped, as we saw with this. Whereas I think if they had gloves, there wouldn't have been as much blood and as cuts and everything. So I think that, and I think also with gloves, I think you're more apt to punch harder or go more wide open, because you're not as worried about your hand. Again, I'm not in there fighting. Maybe these guys, I know from talking to some of them, they weren't fans of it, but you know, you got to do what you got to do. I'm not going to throw out names, but I talked to some, but whatever. And then others were all for it. So whatever. Like I said, I guess I'm not the one in there throwing the punches, but I don't. And then this idea that, wow, they're professional fighters. No, they're not professional fighters. These guys aren't. These guys are landfill attendants and oil riggers and everything else. So to call them professional fighters is ridiculous. And that's not a slight to them or, I don't know. No, they're not, though. These guys work 40-hour job. They got regular jobs. So no, they're not professional fighters by that very definition. So to refer to them as such to me is no. But yeah, I was really happy it was on real ice. That was good. That needs to continue. I always understood why it was on synthetic and everything else, but I am a fan of the real ice for sure. That was a positive step. The one thing I will say with this, and well, there's a few things. I'm trying not to be just negative as shit all over everything, but. One thing I did notice, they kept calling it Ice Wars 3, and it's not. It's Ice Wars 6. They've had 6 Ice Wars events. This was the third one that had BKFC involved. And I know it's all of a sudden like, oh, Ice Wars just began once BKFC partnered with them, and that's been one of my gripes. It's like, no, because to me, you're disrespecting everybody that came before that fought the other that fought in the first 3 events, the Amesburys, the Divines, the Justin Schmitz, etc. It's like they get erased from history because BKFC wasn't involved with us back then. You know, whatever. I mean, just because there's TKO bought UFC from Zuffa a couple years ago, they didn't all of a sudden, okay, now it's UFC 1 because we're in charge now, so it's different, like, and just forget history. Like, that's, to me, that's really disrespectful. I'm not a fan of this Ice Wars 3 shit. It's Ice Wars 6. As far as like, for the guys, it was great. It was really cool. They lived a dream. They got to go to an NHL arena and fight. But anybody with eyes saw empty seats everywhere, and I know there was no one there. And I don't know whose idea it was to go to the Amarant Arena. You were just at the River Creek Casino at Edmonton like 2 months ago. So 2 months later, we're going to go fight in an NHL arena. And I mean, I don't, if somebody's eyes were bigger than, like they say, your eyes are bigger than your stomach. I was pie in the sky thinking, and it was unfortunate. I don't know why. A smaller venue, like a junior A rink somewhere, or a practice facility, would have made a lot more sense. Again, I get it's the big stage. It's Florida Arena, home of the Stanley Cup champs. Holy shit, here we go. Happy for the guys to get to live it. That's cool. But as far as a financial standpoint, to me, that's just suicide. Like, I don't know who thought this was a good idea. And I don't know. That, again, that's my opinion, but it ain't my money I'm spending, so, you know, whatever. But I don't know. To me, it was really hard to watch the show, and you could just see empty seats, and everything was really it was bright and everything else in there, which, again, kind of took me out of it. I'm used to the River Cree in the darkness. The first couple events, I really liked that. Whereas basically it was just like the ice box was lit up, but everything else was sort of black. And to me, it really highlighted that. Like when you watch a boxing match, you can kind of see the front row a little bit, but everything's dark. That's what I like. This was lit up and you could see everything, and I just wasn't a fan of it. It took me out of it. The atmosphere of it took me out of it, and there was just no one there, and no one was into it. It was just, I don't know. It was hard. It was hard. And again, I'm not trying to like sound like Eeyore here and just take the piss out of everything, but it was just, I just had some problems with the event. Again, I liked the fights. The fights were cool. Props to everybody. This isn't shitting on the fighters or, they took my experience away from. No. I'm just the aesthetics of it. I just didn't like the look of it. I don't know why it was in that arena. It was too bright. It's too big. There's no one there. I don't know. I was really happy that Chris Therien was on commentary. That was great. I've been very vocal about that for the last two events that I thought he should be involved. There should be a hockey guy on the broadcast team. They did that. That was great. Therien sounded great. Great addition. It was great to see him back. He was awesome. Ian held up his part of the deal on the commentary team. I was very critical of him in the last couple shows. He held up well with Terry and here. They worked with each other really well, I thought. And no, commentary was fine. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I don't know, for these first three events that BKFC hasn't been involved in, and I've been vocal about this, and I would say the same thing if Kevin Smith and them were sitting right here. They keep calling it a partnership, but I'm really not sure what BKFC does for Ice Wars. I'm more than willing to listen to someone tell me what they do, but they do no promotion of the event. As the live stream was going on after every fight, we had to watch BKFC promo for the next BKFC event in Indiana, or BKFC one or whatever that was. It was always an advertisement for the next bare knuckle event, which is fine. But somebody tell me during those bare knuckle events leading up to this, was there any talk? Did they mention Ice Wars once? I know I've never seen it on any of their social media, BKFC social media. They never mention Ice Wars. So I'm not really sure what this partnership, air quote partnership is, because it doesn't look to me like BKFC is really doing anything for them, really, other than just slapping their name on everything. You know, and my critique is that they keep going, this is a hockey fight. It's not a BKFC event, and they keep going in that MMA direction. And I've had this conversation with people. Oh, we need the BKFC fans. It's not. This isn't for BKFC fans. This is for hockey fans. This is a hockey fan event. And this is my problem again in Michigan, the same thing. In Edmonton, they did it. Oh, in halftime or whatever, they start interviewing BKFC fighters. No one there gives a shit. I was in Edmonton when the two guys were in the ring and AJ was interviewing them, two flyweights or whoever I don't know who they were. Everyone got up and took a piss and went and got beer. No one was listening to them. No one cares. But you have John Morasti sitting there, Jim from Shoresy. There's a native hockey tournament going on. Half the building's native hockey players. You have John Morasti, who is a native, a legendary native fighter, and you don't talk to him. You're in Detroit. Darren McCarty's at the event. Won the Stanley Cup with Detroit. Three cups with the Red Wings. No, we won't interview him. Instead, we do some lame pull apart between two BKFC guys that no one gives a shit about. In the BKFC world, they do. But in the hockey fight community, is what I'm talking about. The hockey fight community doesn't care about these guys. They would have loved it. I bet you people watch it. Oh shit, Darren McCarty, D-Mac. Remember when remember the big fight with Colorado? I mean, no. Instead, we're watching Chris Camoni or whatever do a pull up. And I mean, during that pull apart, you could have heard a mouse piss on cotton. No one cared. Same thing in Edmonton when they're interviewing these BK. And I'm not knocking the BKFC guys that are doing this, but it's like, it's the same thing as if in the middle of a BKFC event, all of a sudden, Will Laporte has a pull apart with Anthony Mendoza. The BKFC crowd, who are these people? Why should I care about this? You're out of place. This is a hockey event, not a BKFC event. But they keep just forcing this BKFC thing. Oh, you're going to watch it? Go to the BKFC app. Do that. Why are we... They're forgetting the Ice Wars portion of it. And I had this discussion. Why do you have to go bare knuckle? Well, because it's a BKFC thing. Bare knuckle, that's what our fans expect. Yeah, but it's a hockey event. It's a hockey... Who gives a shit what the BKFC fans want? They're not watching this. I mean, they might... Some of them might tune in, maybe. But you're going to... It's a hockey crowd. So cater to the hockey fan, in my opinion. This is Darren's opinion. They've gone too far away from the hockey. It's hockey. It's a hockey fight. Why? Who gives a shit about BKFC? Like I said, Pepsi owns. There's 7-Up too. Is owned by Pepsi. Not everything has to taste like Pepsi. You know, it doesn't have to be dark like Pepsi. It's clear. You can be different, but under the same umbrella. Yeah, it's BKFC Ice Wars. I get it, but why can't we just focus on the Ice Wars part? Why is everything catered towards BKFC all the time? That's my issue with this. Again, I'm happy to hear a retort, but from what I've seen on all these social medias, and I go everywhere, and like Feldman there, he's managed to squeak out the words Ice Wars maybe 3 times before the event, but I've never heard him talk about it. Conor McGregor ever talked about it? You know, like, is he out there? Did he come to the event in Florida? Like, no. I mean, you know, and again, at this event, Riley Cote and Mike Segroy are sitting there. Riley Cote played for the Flyers. Mike Segroy, legendary minor league fighter, fought Morasti and all a bunch of these guys. No, instead, I got Tito Ortiz and then some female influencer. Okay, right on. Let's just ignore the hockey guys that are there. Like, just, you know, I don't know. It's just, again, that's the hockey in me. That's the hockey fan in me. I'll always be hockey first. I don't get the BKFC fascination and why it's almost like we're just going towards the BKFC side of things. To me, it's a hockey event, and it should be catered to hockey fans, not to BKFC fans. And to me, they're going the opposite way. But that's just what I see. Again, that's my opinion. I could be full of... Hey, maybe somebody gets a hold of me and says, you're full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about. All right. That wouldn't be the first time someone said that. But that's just my opinion. You know, out of the 6 Ice Wars that's happened, in my opinion, I enjoyed this one the least. If I had to rank the 6, this would be number 6. I enjoyed some of the fights, and like I said, full marks to everybody that took part. Props to all the fighters. It wasn't even the fights. It wasn't that. It was just the arena, the ambiance, just I don't know. It was just the vibe of it. It wasn't there for me. I don't know. I couldn't really get into it for some reason, and that's just my opinion. And yeah, there you go. Those are my thoughts on Ice Wars, BKFC Ice Wars in Florida, from the Amaranth Arena. Those are my thoughts. And like I said, if somebody wants to disagree, that's fine. Like I said, you have my number. Get a hold of me. I'm on social media. DM me then, and we can have the discussion. You can tell me everything I'm wrong about. I'm certainly willing to sit down and listen, and I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong or you know, what I'm incorrect about. But this is what my eyes saw, and you know, and this has been the talk going forward, and I just don't like the direction that it's going, and that's just my opinion. So, but there we go. That's my review of the show. And like I said, go to my YouTube channel here, Fourth Line Voice on YouTube. I'm going to post the video of AJ Galante talking about Major League Hockey fights and what he wants to do. And it's a different it's different. And it's still hockey fighting, but it's a different concept than Ice Wars. And like I said, and going forward, hey, we can all learn from the mistakes and clean it up, and I look forward to the next Ice Wars event like I look forward to the first Major League Hockey fight event. I'll cover it the same. I'll have fighters on and talk to them, and you know, this certainly doesn't kill my enthusiasm for Ice Wars or anything like that. I still love the event. I love the guys that are involved, the fighters that are involved in it. I'm just saying if I would have done things different if I was in charge. That's all I'm saying. And again, I'm not saying my way is the right way or anything like that. I want it to be more hockey, and they're going a different direction, it seems. And, but we'll see. We'll see going forward what happens. So, but that's just my opinion on things. So there we go, folks. There's Darren's review show, the good, the bad, the ugly of BKFC Ice Wars in Florida. So, Ice Wars 6 in Florida. I'm never going to call it 3. But there we have it, folks. But yeah, like I said, Saturday night, it's almost 11 o'clock. My voice is starting to get hoarse, so I've talked for too long already. So anyway, that's my thoughts. If anybody, like I said, you want to get a hold of me, social media, drop me a DM. My DMs are open, as the kids say. And other than that, folks, I will be back next week on the Bruised and Battered Show, as well as more Fourth Line Voice content. And like I said, please check out my YouTube channel for that video of AJ talking about Major League Hockey fights. I think you guys will get a kick out of it, and AJ's passionate about it. And we'll see where that we'll see what happens with that. So I please encourage you to check it out. And also, while you're there, please subscribe to the channel and go down the rabbit hole. I have 2,500 fight videos on there. Believe me, it'll keep you busy for hours. But anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Let's have a good work week, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.
And you people that don't like fighting, how many of you did you walk out and get a coffee while that was on?